Yes, and I'm Diane, YWCA Philanthropy Officer. So.
And I'm Cindy Weese, YWCA Director. And Diane and I are going to team up and try to work this technology to
wish
provide.
Us luck.
Yes, wish us. But what we're going to show you is actually a PowerPoint presentation with pictures and videos embedded in it. And some of the videos are very short clips, but I think that it will give you a really good visual and representation of what the space is going to look like in the Meadowlark. We have a number of videos specifically around the Family Housing Center, kitchen, dining, and living area, and then also the the rooms that the families will be sleeping in. So unless there are early questions, I think we're going to start the tour now, and you won't see us, you'll just see the screen. Here's the front of the Meadowlark building facing 3rd Street. It on the right-hand side, which is actually the east side of the building, is the parking lot. In this parking lot, it's where the families in the Family Housing Center will park, and it's also where all of you. So this is what it looked like a month ago under construction. It looks much more complete than that now. So we're going to go into the main lobby where everyone will enter, and I'm going to stop it. So what you're seeing here, if we get back, starting right here, this is in the main lobby. There's a number of doors. These are 2 doors to the right side of the reception area. One is to the conference room. This is the conference room that it's in the main service center, will be used by YWCA staff, our board, when we have committee meetings. Also, some community meetings may happen in that conference room as well. Right next to the conference room is the children's classroom. And ignore the names on top of there. This is just our architect put in placeholders for naming opportunities. But this is the children's classroom. It is the room that will be used to host children's programs after school and different children's group activities. It's also a space where school-age kids can do their homework or engage in computer-based studies, which we all know is especially important for this current and next year's school year that includes so much remote learning. All the residents in both the Family Housing Center and in the Domestic Violence Shelter will have access to high-speed internet to search for housing, employment, and other community resources. So now if we move along here to the reception desk. So, sorry, we're going to go back. The reception desk is removed somewhat from the main door and the seating area to provide some privacy for guests who come in. If you've been in our building at the YWCA, you know this is something we do not currently have. Someone comes to our front desk right now, they to tell us what they are there for, they are disclosing to anyone else who's in the lobby. This will be different and provide a much more dignified space. Right behind the door behind the reception desk is actually one of the YWCA staff offices. Then we move past there, and this area right here, this hallway, The first door on the right is to a youth program area, so another youth space. It will be used by our GUTS leadership program, but also used for older youth activities. And both the youth room and the children's classroom, I anticipate will be used by the Family Housing Center as well to provide children's activities in the main service area. And then the big door, this big door right back here is the entrance to the Family Promise YWCA Family Housing Center. So that's where all of you will be entering to go into not only the staff offices, but the kitchen and dining area. It is also the entry to the stairs going up to the residential rooms. And then this is just a depiction of what the lobby will resemble. Activities for kids there. It's, what we really like about this is there's a lot of glass in the foyer area, provide really nice natural light. We hope to create a really warm and welcoming physical environment for people coming in. And what you don't see is on just inside the door, which will be to the right, once people come in, we also have two walk-in crisis counseling rooms that will be in the main lobby as well. One is for our YWCA domestic violence program, and the other one is for our housing Gateway Center walk-in room. Any questions before we move on? Okay, we're going to show you what it looks like under construction 1 month ago. I actually think there's drywall on it now. There are those two community rooms and children's classroom right here. The lobby and staff office, or the reception and staff office behind it. There's the youth space right there. You can barely see it, but that youth room opens up into the service center courtyard out back. So a nice little courtyard for the youth to use and for the staff to use there. There's the hallway going into the Family Housing Center. Sorry. That's okay. And again, the waiting area right in here. So now we're going to, I think most of you know this, but the Meadowlark has 3 main wings. There's the service center, which is the middle wing. And then we have on the east side is the domestic violence shelter wing, and YWCA staff offices are located right adjacent to that. And then on the west wing is the Family Housing Center. All of the sleeping rooms are on the 2nd floor for the Family Housing Center, on the 2nd floor of the building, and some of the domestic violence shelter rooms are on the 2nd floor, and then there's a 3rd floor, a small 3rd floor for the domestic violence shelter. So we're going into the shelter, DV shelter right now. This kitchen resembles the one we'll show you later for the Family Housing Center. It's just a smaller version of it. What we're looking at right now is straight ahead. There's a door back there. It is a secure entryway into the DV shelter from the outside. Residents in the domestic violence shelter will actually park in the underground parking garage and then come up through an elevator into the shelter and enter that way. There's some lockers in the back there, right next to the door. And then the kitchen area, and you know, you'll see we have a variety of seating options. We have booths and tables, and then counter seating. Just gives people a option of, you know, having being able to share meals and be closer to other people, or have some private areas to eat with their families. In the back of this is a lounge area, kind of the living area for the communal space that will have a TV and couches for residents to relax, for sometimes for the older kids to hang out as parents are preparing meals. This kitchen has 4 individual cooking stations, each with a stove, oven, sink for folks to prepare their own family meals. Also, the teal and orange cabinets down here are actually individual locking pantries. And in those cabinets, so each resident will have a key to get into their own pantry, where they will have, there's a mini fridge in those, and also shelving to keep food items. We've found in our domestic violence shelter, one of the biggest sources of conflict is people's food being stored in a communal kitchen and in the same refrigerator, and we just wanted to try to avoid that altogether in this space. And so we're giving everyone their own little refrigerator and area to keep their food. Okay. Now Diane's going to show you what it looks like under construction.
Do you want to point out that area, Cindy?
Yeah.
Okay, let me back it up a little bit.
So the kitchen in the domestic violence shelter, actually the domestic violence courtyard is larger than the service center courtyard, and it's just a really great space for both adults and children to hang out. Yeah. Okay, so an example of a sleeping room on the second floor. These rooms look the same for the domestic violence shelter and the family housing center. The difference with this picture and reality is that this one shows a double bed and then a set of bunks. Most all of the rooms will have the set of twin bunks, but they will also have a, so instead of just that double bunk there, will be a little twin bunk on top of it, so that each room can comfortably sleep a family of 5. These rooms, you won't be able to see it on this rendering, but the rooms also, as you all know, have their own private full bathroom. So bathtub and sink and toilet in the room. And we'll show you what they look like a month ago. They actually are starting to be drywalled now. This little area back here is where the bathroom is.
Right in here.
There's the views, so rooms on the second and third floor. Their views are awesome with great natural light. You know, they might seem like fairly small rooms for a family, and they are, but as you all know, they are a great improvement over what either of our organizations are able to provide long-term for families right now.
Cindy, they also have a built-in wardrobe.
Yeah, I don't know if it's, they'll have a wardrobe. I don't know if it's built in or not, but yes. Yes, they will. And we did switch out the sinks in the bathroom too. They had, I think, wall-mounted sinks were called out. We switched those out so that they have a little bit of storage space in the bathroom as well, in the sink area. Any other, before we move on to what I think is going to be the most interesting space for all of you, any questions about the room? Okay. So I wish we could enlarge this graphic for you, but we can't. But this graphic is a bird's eye view of the Family Housing Center kitchen, dining, and lounge living area. And we're going to look at really nice fly-through videos of each of these spaces, but we'll have Diane just kind of give you a little cursor overview of all of what you're looking at. So we show them the kitchen area.
Dining or kitchen over here, okay.
Yeah, so that's where that is where the Family Promise meal providers will spend a lot of time, is in this room that has the dishwasher, the sink. It's where the refrigerators and warming pans will be located, and it's also where there's a serving, what do I want to say? Anyways, a serving area there where you can be in that room and serve folks on the other side of it.
Cell phone is ringing.
Right next to that is the booth seating. So there's booth seating in this kitchen area as well. And then there's tables in this, maybe a larger area for table seating, and then there's also counter seating right up here. Next to the counter seating is the main kitchen area, and it's similar to the domestic violence kitchen, except that there are additional individual cooking stations. There's 7 individual cooking stations. There are also, like in the domestic violence shelters kitchen, there are individual locking pantries with mini fridges for all of the residents of the Family Housing Center. And then right off of the dining area, there's a living room with couch and TV right in here for folks to relax. Yeah. And then an additional one here, right, a little back lounge area as well. There's also what's called the kids corner, and this rendering doesn't describe it really well, but there's a little pony wall, so small kids can play in there while mom and dad are in the kitchen doing other things. And then there's 2 offices, one activity room right there and a staff office next to it. Now we're going to move on and, and will you show them where?
I think I just went.
That's okay.
Okay.
Will you show them where it enters into the courtyard for the
right
Family
here.
Housing Center? Yeah, which you'll see a better depiction of that later. Right. So here it is in virtual reality. There's the lounge or the living room area right here. Booth seating back there. And the tabletop counter seating. Sorry, These quick videos are so hard to manage. So this one just gives kind of a quick overview of what it looks like. I'll have more detailed ones later. There you can see the outdoors, the courtyard back in here, with outdoor seating as well for dining when it's nice out. So here's a more detail on what we're looking at straight ahead is the serving area. You guys will be back there. Folks will come through a serving line. Here there's a place to put their, get their silverware and dishes, come through and have the meals dished up if that's the way it's going to be served. You can see there's cooling and warming pans in their sneeze guards. This is like a coffee station right back here.
On and then put it back on so I don't go out seeing and it's so boring.
Here's the side lounge right next to the main kitchen area. I'm going to look at a couple more videos.
Hello. Hello.
Hey, how are you, Spider-Man? Oh, I like those. It kind of reflects as you wear it.
Right. So
Very cool.
we have
And it kind of goes up and makes it so.
that's for young guests. That's what you hear right now. We're going to try to go back. I don't know if you can go back to the beginning here. So this is inside that kitchen area. On the left-hand side, this is where we have the warming ovens and the refrigerators, big refrigerators. Straight ahead is the big commercial dishwasher back there. I think First Presbyterian Church has one very similar to it. This main island prep space right in here. A nice commercial sink on the other wall. And that's it. And it should pan around to, again, the serving area right here. We also will have nice stainless steel carts to load dishes, plates on, and to transport them out to the main dining area if needed, or wherever we need to use them. I know that we're going to be using them in our domestic violence shelter because the meals won't always be prepared by volunteers in our domestic violence shelter. They may be prepared in our service center and then delivered to our domestic violence shelter. And I would imagine, Becky, that you will be using those carts to bring meals in from the parking lot as well. I think we have one more video of the dining area.
Let's see.
Oh, yep, this is the last one. Now we're at, I think, the dishwasher on the right, on the left-hand side here.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know what this thing is right here. Maybe where silverware goes. I don't know what that is. And just a different view of it. Okay, and again, this is a different angle of the dining and living room area, and then the courtyard out there in the back. Just gives you an idea of how big it is, how roomy it is. And we will have here on the left-hand side, they've included too many of them, but on the left-hand side against the wall are little areas. There's, I think, 1 or 2 of them in the actual design that will be available for kids to sit and do their homework. And it could easily put a laptop up there or a Chromebook. And this is under construction, what it looks like 1 month ago. A nice big space with great light. Before we move on, comments or questions about the kitchen, dining area? Becky Bishop, do you want to add anything?
It just looks great. Good to see in detail where things are. Those things that you pointed to that are circular, I believe were the plastic containers that hold the silverware while you're washing it in the dishwasher.
Oh, yeah.
And then you stick them in those holes and they dry before you put them back out to be used.
Thank you.
Could I ask a question?
Yeah.
Yeah, Diane Taylor here. I was just, so we have one central kitchen that's serving all of the families in the Family Housing Center? Is that what?
Yes. That is
Okay,
true.
so then my question then is, are families being fed in staggered shifts so that all of them can eat?
We do think that's what will have to happen, and we've anticipated that thing, that there
Right.
are so many families, we couldn't accommodate them all at once. COVID is adding even an additional layer to that, and so we working with the Family Promise coordinators to start figuring that out. What will be our protocols? But yes, it will be shifted, staggered dining time.
Okay. Okay, and then I have another question going back to the bedrooms. You're showing very nice bedrooms with comfortably for 5 people. Very often we have families that are 6. And we have one right now, and we had 2 families not too long ago that were 6 people. Are there someone you can expand that?
Diane?
Yes.
I'm going to
Yes.
give the Family Housing Center a certain number of our mattresses from our beds. Just a
Yes.
few of them so that when we have that, we can throw an extra mattress in there.
Okay, great. Fantastic. Thank you. Thank you.
And if it's an exceptionally large family, we do have the ability to, I can't remember what the room, to provide 2 rooms for one family. I can't remember, so don't hold me to this, but I think that we have a couple rooms that also can be adjoining, as in a door between them, but I need to double check on that.
All right. Thank you.
Like in a hotel.
Okay. Thanks.
Okay, we're going to now move on, I think, and show you some of the outdoor spaces. Yeah. So this, you've all seen this picture many times of the back of the building and the 3 wings. The light green wing represents the Family Housing Center. The orange in the middle is the service center for the YWCA. And then the yellow is a combination of the domestic violence shelter and, again, some YWCA staff offices. And then the second floor that wraps all the way around is 75% of the second floor is family housing center rooms. About 25% are domestic violence shelter. That third floor is domestic violence shelter room. And then there are 3 courtyard spaces, 3 separate ones. You cannot see into the courtyard spaces from another courtyard space. We designed it that way to maintain privacy. The one, and we're going to look at these in more detail, but looking at this picture, the one next to the light green is the largest courtyard space, and that is for the family housing. Then in the
Cindy, to go back to
Yeah.
the room situation, does that overflow area still exist?
Yes,
It
it does.
And thanks for asking about that, Maureen. We don't have a rendering of it, but the overflow space can accommodate up to 6 families, and it is located on the second floor between the family housing center rooms and the domestic violence shelter rooms. And there's actually a security, you have to have a code to get into the domestic violence shelter area. But the overflow space is on the second floor and more designed like a dorm space. There's also next to the overflow space and by the family, no, I guess that's not true. There's a laundry room on the second floor for each section, the family housing center side and the domestic violence shelter side. There's also in the family housing center side a quiet room located next to the laundry room, but among the resident rooms. That quiet room during the day will be used by the residents. They can go in there maybe to nurse a child, or the adults want to go in there and have a adult conversation, they can use the quiet room. At night and in the evenings, it will be the space where Family Promise overnight volunteers will station. It's a nice space.
And we're talking about having a couch that turns into a bed. What do you call those?
Murphy bed.
Murphy bed. Yeah. So it'll be a big step up for those of us who've been sleeping on those cots.
Yeah. In a private space, for sure. So I think you all can see the courtyard again. We may not have as many flowers and plants. We had to explain that small children playing might be, counterproductive to having a bunch of nice flowers. But we will have landscaping. We also want to have some natural elements like these boulders in here that kids can climb on and play. And then you can't see it really well, but we are going to have a really nice playground structure. We were able to receive a couple grants for that from local foundations, and so it's going to be, we bought a large one for the Family Housing Center and a little smaller one for the domestic violence shelter side, and they are all abilities playgrounds, so even if we have children with disabilities, they'll be able to play on those structures as well. And then I think what we're looking at, the little wood shed like thing, is actually, there's a smoking shelter on both sides where the adults who need to smoke will have a place to go and will be encouraged to only smoke in those areas.
Better for the kids.
All right. And then, is this a video?
Oh, it's not coming up as a
Okay.
video. It's not letting me advance it either.
Yeah. I think we did lose our ability to advance, but
Go back. Yeah.
the domestic violence courtyard space looks similar to this, just on a smaller scale. What we don't see, because we can't advance it right now, is that there is an underground parking garage in the back of the building, backed by the domestic violence shelter. Again, it's where staff and domestic violence shelter residents will park, but they will come through that main parking lot that I showed you in the very beginning to drive down under the building. So that's it. And hopefully we can even just get out of this.
I'll have to escape.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
that would work.
you think.
Okay.
Just frozen.
So,
Yeah, the red,
we,
now you're unmuted.
Okay. I do have a question on food.
yeah,
Who's doing the main food and what would we be expected to add to the meal?
That's a discussion for us to have in our coordinators meeting.
Excellent, I'll be there.
Okay. We have tentative plans and we have ideas for long-term plans. All of our plans have had to take into account COVID.
True.
But you are not feeding 31 families by yourselves.
That's what I
Everybody
need to
keeps
hear.
asking me that question.
Thank you for saying that.
I also want to just let folks know that our plan is, well, let me tell you the timeline right now for completion of the building. It looks like the building construction will be done in early March, and that we will be moving in families hopefully by April, early April. There's an elaborate security system in this facility. You all will learn it. You all will have key cards to get in and out. We really want to move in. We have to move the Y offices in first, learn the security system so that when we do start moving families in, the transition will be smooth and we don't want to disrupt families who are already in crisis any more than they will be by moving in here. We will move in homeless family programs first, and then our domestic violence shelter at the end. Well, that will be the last thing that we do. But we are planning to have a trial run of the building before we move anyone in, and have a kind of celebration event where all of you, our YWCA volunteers as well, come spend the night in one of the rooms, and where we can do a run through of a meal the evening before, just to see if that kind of helps us work out some of the glitches and also give people an opportunity to just be in the space and in a celebration mode. So please keep that on your radar, and if you and your family would like to participate, we'd love to have you join us.
Thank you so much for doing this, Cindy, Diane. It's really beautiful.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Becky. Becky has been a workhorse as we're trying to get the policies and procedures done for the facility, and it's been a real joy working with her and getting to know her better. All right, everyone, we really look forward to working with you when the Meadowlark opens.
Yay!
Yay. Have a great weekend.
Thanks, Cindy.